Okay. Week 5. We have a build menu. Bottom down here. We're gonna upgrade some of our turrets. And we're gonna make a bunch of them lightning turrets, because I want to show off the lightning turrets. The other thing is that the lightning turrets are pretty good at clearing larger volumes of enemies. So once we start getting some of the swarming behavior, like things are picking up that, hey, there's a train here and we need to go kill it, then these lightning turrets are supposed to help you with that. I don't know if the damage output is there at this point, like the frequency or the effect needs to change. And they kind of get stuck on some of these larger enemies. So maybe that's like a problem. And at this point I've already died, so that's also a problem. So the game is a little bit too hard right now. Need to tweak that, like there's just too many things spawning. Or I need to like change the frequency at which things fire. That's an earthworm, which is the next thing I want to talk about. So let's close this. We'll start it up again. We'll try and stay alive a little bit longer. And we are going to see if we can go say hi to an earthworm. So the way the spawner works behind the scenes is that it will look for... it has like a timer. The timer spawns either an anthill or like a legion bug. And those legion bugs are spawning less frequently than the anthills. And they start spawning later. I already died. This is embarrassing. But that's what happens when you're talking and doing stuff at the same time. I think I'm just going to go into the test mode. Alright, target dummy on. Save this. Let's take a look at the earthworm without having to worry about everything else going on. Alright. There's the earthworm. It is fantastic. Its AI is set up so it doesn't run into you. I think there it tried to run into itself and managed to die, which is kind of impressive. If you do force it to run into itself, it will never run into you. Then it will die. It also leaves this little path, which is, you know, yeah, it's just roads from like a tower defense game. And it will effectively bully you. Like it just kind of stays close to you and it will push you around. If you run into the earthworm, it does large amounts of damage and leave its body behind. If you do enough damage to the earthworm or force it to eat itself, it will dive on the ground and supposed to leave treasure. That doesn't work yet. So that's where we're at with that. This menu down here doesn't do anything. We have the heart menu up top now. I like that better than the health numbers, because I think that it's much clearer in how things work. I think I may have figured out what's killing me. Yes. I'm killing myself with the lightning zappy things. There's some friendly fire going on. Oops. So yeah, that's where that's at. Let's talk through all the features this week. Targeting seems off on turrets. I think that's been solved. Bug mortar bug or legionnaire bug, whatever you want to call it. Teleports, that's been solved. Still have some bugs where sometimes it starts up and things don't really work. I think that's... I don't know what's causing that, honestly. It's been puzzling me. Small features didn't get around to. Refactored the targeting of the to be on a different thread. That means that you can have like a 40-50 section long train and a few hundred enemies and you still don't see your frame rate drop. which is amazing compared to where it was. Fixed a lot of the naming. Nobody cares about that other than me. The earthworm is new. Earthworm is still a bit janky. Also looks awful. Right? Like, I mean, it has no model. It's just some meshes created in Godot. We have the new Tesla upper turret, and it shoots and it has graphics. They look pretty bad. I mean, but you know, it does things. You have a upper build menu, you have a lower build menu, you have turret levels, which don't do anything. You can navigate through like the upper and lower build and build weapons. Oh, you have like the bottom navigation to pick your wagon. Doesn't work if your wagon of your train is like 50 sections long, unfortunately. And I like the heart as life points, so that's looking pretty good. Next week, yeah, these are just the bugs. I want to get my bugs count down. The earthworm especially is a very buggy thing, but I think the earthworm is very important to get right because I think it's going to be the basis that I'm going to build bosses upon. Right? If the earthworm isn't working right, having something that acts like a train in the game to use as a boss can't work either. So we'll work on that. I like to have the earthworm come out of the ground. Right now it doesn't do that. I still need to refactor targeting of treasures. This is kind of funny. So the treasures are spawning in a location, and then they use the same targeting logic for wagons and bugs and everything else to see if there's something close by enough for it to gravitate towards. There's not a background thread yet, everything else is. Still want to add some credits. Right now they're in the video comments. Want to create a burning and an ice turret, which don't exist right now. I think the burning turret is just gonna leave like a damage over time effect in a square. So that should make it really effective against larger enemies, especially when combined with the ice turret, which would slow enemies in an area down. And of course, if you have an area of affecting that stays on the ground and things stay in the area longer, that should be a pretty good combination against bosses, whereas the lightning isn't supposed to be good against bosses as much. Then on the lower deck, we're going to have an exchange, which allows you to take the supplies, which would normally make you bigger, and turn it into more coins, which allows you to have higher tiers of stuff. Raid, which increases your pickup range and the range at which you can interact with events, which don't exist in the game yet. Repair, it repairs you in some capacity, I don't know what yet. Broadside is just an unupgradable cannon that shoots out to the sides and has some area of effect component. And then I want to add controller support. I think getting most of this done next week is feasible, and I think that after that it's gonna be playable-ish. We'll see. We still have major features around the actual locomotive part of the train that don't exist yet, but it's starting to get to the point where it's game-like. That's it for updates. Yeah, I think I'm going to play a little bit more. And knowing that these Tesla turrets blow my... Oh, I'm in the wrong mode. Knowing that the Tesla turrets are killing me, I'm gonna maybe not use as many of those. Use them sparingly. Because, yeah, I was wondering why I was doing so poorly. Alright, so I don't want a Tesla turret. I would like a normal cannon. So now we switched our normal Tesla turret for cannon. And let's grow a. Why is it shooting the origin? Something isn't right when it's shooting the origin. I don't know what. Yeah, the Tesla turret was murdering us. Because now without the Tesla turret, like, I'm actually doing much better as far as the amount of health I have left. Not that it's feasible to keep going without building a Tesla turret though, because the number of bugs is increasing. But there's also much more health to be, or supplies to be picked up. So that's good. Yeah. Alright, so we're still alive. There's the earthworm. When you pick up health, or health supplies, your train gets longer, which increases your maximum health of your train. It also heals you for some amount. And this is where you can kind of see this bullying behavior, where it just kind of wiggles its way towards you. I think that I need to start upgrading some Tesla turrets at this point. And hopefully that... Yeah, and this is again, like, the way that the thing is bullying you is... If you try and turn away from it, it will turn towards you again. So I'm kind of happy with the AI. Like, the AI does what I want it to do. But the Tesla turrets are just completely murdering myself right now. So the game is fairly unplayable. 60 FPS, 430 enemies. I mean, getting there. Let's make our train longer. Mainly by just making everything a Tesla turret, so that we have lots of explosions. Although, yeah, my health is also plummeting as I'm just killing myself with my own turrets. Details. 500 enemies, still 60 FPS. A lot of enemies stop working properly when I die as a player. These little bugs, on the other hand, they are quite excitable. And yeah, like, it's... I mean, we don't do enough damage. We have a lot of issues around that. But you can kind of start seeing the snakish behavior. And we definitely killed enough enemies that the enemy count dropped drastically. But as a flip side, we have a very long train. Very useful to be able to keep playing when it's game over when you're a developer, because, you know, you get to see what's going on. You get to see how you're blowing yourself up with your own turrets. I love bugs in these types of games, in game development. It's so much more fun than actual software development. But starting to look pretty snakish. I'm quite happy at where we're at. I think that, you know, yeah, we only have a few hundred enemies on the screen right now. But as a flip side, I mean, I should put something along the top that allows you to know, like, exactly how much health you have. We got a pretty sizable train going at this point. Oh, yeah, sure ran into my own tail there. So yeah, I think the performance improvements are fairly significant. But the game balance right now is awful. It is so bad. And I don't know why I have a giant wad of bugs following me, but I imagine sooner or later they will get targeted by something and then we'll get even longer. Still 60 FPS, 300 some odd enemies. Yeah, I don't know. It's starting to look like what I was hoping for. Lots of things to improve around balance and everything else, and making it easier to manage your terrain. I'm wondering whether or not leveling up turrets is a thing. Because of, I kind of want people to have longer trains because that makes it so that gives you the snake gameplay experience. But I also want people to have a choice. I think I may want people to have a choice more than I'm tying myself to the snake like gameplay experience. So yeah, still holding steady at 60 FPS. It is pretty funny. I really think that this is going to feel like what I'm going for. I mean, that is a glorious, glorious train running around and shooting, and all the turrets are desperately fighting. Actually, not trying to find targets, that's not how the game works, but doing their thing. It also clearly shows that this user interface down below doesn't work anymore. The hard user interface up top doesn't work anymore. There's a lot of things that don't work anymore once your train gets this long. 52, 50 SPS. Hey, we're dropping 30, 40, 400 enemies, and God knows how long the train is. That's kind of where the limit is at right now. I'm super excited. This is getting where I want it to be. The bug behaviors are wild. I don't quite know what's driving some of the bug behaviors I'm seeing right now. A lot of things just stop working when you're dead, when you're no longer alive. And I have plenty of bugs to fix, separate from the actual bugs in the game. But it's showing the promise that I was hoping for. Yeah, I mean, it's very snaky, 30 FPS, 500 enemies, and God only knows what I'm trying to do here, where it keeps adding more and more things. It just doesn't work. Yeah. Anyway, I think that we're getting to the point of polishing this thing, and I'm looking forward to it.